Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in today's second video. Going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's second video. Day 10 is going to take us to around 15th of March, middle of the month, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that. It's GFS and ECM ensembles because maybe around a couple of weeks. I'm going to have a look at the CFSV2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks, and also the ECMWF for the next 6 weeks as well. So it's going to be a bit of an extended one today. Please like, share, subscribe on videos, and thank you so much everybody for doing that. We'll begin with what's happening in the stratosphere. Just say the first video today was our 6 AM upload, so check that one out if you have not yet done so. And thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. Right, going to start off with development stratosphere-wise. This is how temperatures are currently looking at 10 HPA from the JMA. Warming is continuing. The black line is continuing to lift up, so we now have a warmer than average stratosphere, 10 HPA, something that we've not had really since back in November, really, and around here, late October into November. So yeah, you know, got a pretty warm temperature at 10 HPA. We're also lifting the temperature up at 30 HPA as well. Look at that. Got a dramatic warming going on at 30 HPA out towards the stratosphere. Of course, we're very, very cold at that level of the stratosphere over the past few months, hovering around or below minus 80. We've now lifted up to average, and that black line will probably lift up a little bit more over the next few days, I would have thought, going above average at both 10 and also 30 HPA. This is the warming up of stratosphere that's taking place at 10 HPA over the North Pole. Not a dramatic one, not a sudden stratospheric one, but it is a significant warming of the stratosphere, indicated by these green yellow colours displacing the polar vortex at its roots of blue colours out into northern parts of Europe. So as we run through over the next few days, we find this warming is sustained at 10 HPA for around a week or so, and then it begins to fade out where blue colours try and come back. We try to turn things colder again at 10 HPA, so the polar vortex at its roots sort of fighting back. And then another warming begins to take place as we move in towards the second half of March. Again, have like a secondary warming that will probably be the killing blow, I would have thought. And I would imagine that second warming could be enough to actually reverse the zonal winds. The current warming probably won't be enough to reverse zonal winds at 10 HPA, but this second warming, if it comes off in the second half of the month, will probably be enough to send zonal winds into reverse and see an end to this year's polar vortex. The GFS ensemble mean looks like this, or ensemble forecast looks like this from weathercool.com. This is depicting the strength of zonal winds. So zonal winds are weakening in response to this warming of the stratosphere, because have had a very strong zonal wind. Black line is like the trend, the average line, so zonal winds should be decreasing this time of year. But through most of this winter, zonal winds have been stronger than average, right way from November all the way up to just a few days ago, when we actually had a record-breakingly strong zonal wind. But we do see from the blue line here, but zonal winds have decreased already. GFS ensembles are forecast that zonal winds will weaken even further, though not go into reverse. Not going to have a reverse of zonal winds, but we'll have a significant weakening of zonal winds. Then the strength of zonal wind will come back, so zonal winds will get stronger in around a week or so's time before weakening again. And of course, that's in response to that second warming that the GFS operation room was forecasting at Metro a moment ago. And that one could be enough to begin to send zonal winds into reverse. If we get a reverse of zonal winds, then we will see probably a final end to this year's polar vortex in a few weeks' time. So very interesting developments stratosphere-wise continue, and very, very different now compared to what I've had through most of the winter just gone. We'll keep you updated, of course. Central temperature is standing at 6.6, which is 2.1 degrees above average. That's provisional to yesterday, to the 4th of March. A bit of a mild start to March. I think that's going to come down over the next few days. It's quite chilly today. Will be chilly for the next couple of days with an increasing risk of overnight frost. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles next couple of weeks. The red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for London, staying off below average at the moment, and will stay so for the next few days. Go a little bit milder than average though in around a week's time. So next weekend probably turns milder, and then after that just very close to long-term averages, although there is quite a bit of scatter. GFS ensembles have backed off from the idea of turning colder, appreciably colder next week. It's chilly at the moment, but that idea that we had yesterday of things going significantly colder in around the sort of second half next week, I suppose, with easterly winds, that has been downgraded by GFS ensembles and most model output today. More about that in a second. Precipitation-wise, lots of dry weather to come over the next few days. Probably turning a bit more unsettled, though, as we move through the middle part of March, this period just here in particular. Temperature anomalies from the 5th to the 13th March is a little bit above average. That's a change on yesterday when it was a little bit below average on these anomaly charts. Most of Europe looking quite cold, you'll notice, but just the far northwest, again, Scandinavia, UK, just standing out as being slightly above average, actually, and we had a change on yesterday. And precipitation anomalies from 5th to 13th of March, drier than average for eastern areas, but wetter than average in western areas. That sort of depicts high pressure to the east and low pressure to the west, really. Right, so let's start going through some chart data then. This is how the UK Met Euro run is looking for Tuesday. High pressure will be to our east, and we will be putting in quite a chilly sort of southeasterly wind on Tuesday. Wednesday, that high pressure begins to retreat away eastwards, lower pressure to be deepening in the Atlantic, and that starts to pull wind into southwest. That's a change on yesterday. So the very southeasterlies to easterlies, we've got southerlies to southwesterlies at the end of this week. That brings milder air in of the Atlantic, but also turns us wet and windy as well. It's a very subtle difference, though. We might see things swing back into those east-southeasterlies over the next day or two. I'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, most of our output sort of shifting wind direction to southerly, southwesterly second half of next week. That's how we look as we get to the end of UK Met Euro run at midnight on Saturday next week. Southerly winds and quite wet, particularly for western areas. Icons looking like this, again pulling in quite chilly southeasterly winds on Tuesday. That carries on into Wednesday, really, but then wind begins to turn more southwesterly as you get through to Thursday and Friday. So that brings milder air up for the second half week, but also turns us wet and windy. As we get to the end of the icon run, though, just signs that the high pressure over Scandinavia beginning to strengthen and start to push back towards us. So icon, by next weekend could be hinting at winds swinging round into more of an east or a southeasterly direction. The GFS midnight run, again, shows high pressure bringing those cool southeast winds on Tuesday, but wind turns southerly to southwesterly for the second half next week. Turns more unsettled as well with rain in the west, and probably quite mild, actually, by the end of the week into next weekend, but also wet and windy with this area of low pressure looking quite vigorous. That could bring heavy rain and gale force winds. Notice high pressure is always threatening, though, over Scandinavia. It really isn't all that far away. It's just a very subtle adjustment will get us into easy winds. And by day 10, the midnight GFS run does actually start pulling in some easterlies as the high pressure takes over across Scandinavia. Upper air temperatures by that point, middle of March, looking quite cold. More low pressure dries in from off the Atlantic in the extended range, and we start to build up high pressure from the Azores by the end of the GFS midnight run gets to 21st of March. That would turn us much more spring-like. The 6th said, again, quite chilly southeast winds on Tuesday. They turn southerly to southwesterly. Through the second half of next week, that's milder, brings rain into the west, and then wet and windy probably next weekend, that area of low pressure to our southwest. And all the way through the extended range, really, we keep low pressure moving in off the Atlantic. It's only right at the very end of the GFS 6 the high pressure tries to ridge in from the east, so that does turn a little bit more unsettled. That turns a little bit more settled, I should say, by the second half of March. But overall looking relatively mild now, but also quite wet and windy through the second week of March, which is a bit of a change on yesterday. If you're enjoying the video, then please do smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And drop a comment. Let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. We're getting very close now to 13.3k subscribers. So 13,300 subscribers. Our next sort of mini target, ultimate target, 14,000 subscribers, of course. Please give us a sub. Tell friends and family to subscribe as well. Get us to 13,300 subscribers as quick as we can. This other GM is, thank you so much, everybody. This other GM is looking again, putting in those cool southeasterly winds on Tuesday, but then we go southerly southwesterly with wind through the second half of next week. That's milder, bringing the wind up from right up coast of Portugal, and also wetter though for more western areas. In more extended range, high pressure sort of builds over Germany and Poland and starts to bring in like a southerly southeasterly, and that's probably very mild. That's probably like real spring. I reckon that get temperatures in the mid-teens Celsius, back to sunshine. So GM bring proper spring weather by the middle part of March. You'll remember that GM never went for those cold east-southeasterlies. So interesting. GM probably comes out on top of all model output actually over recent days for next week. ECM, again, we're bringing up that cool southeasterly on Tuesday, but very quickly, second half of next week, wind turns southwesterly, turns milder, wetter and windier. And just was quite unsettled really as we move up towards day 10, although by day 10 itself, high pressure is again similar to GM, taking over across Germany and Poland, and so that's settling things down. And with wind coming up from a southerly southwesterly direction, that would be very mild, very spring-like type conditions. Notice at that point the Polar Vortex still well and truly in business around Greenland and Iceland, so no sort of weakening in the tropospheric level. Polar Vortex up to day 10 in response to this warming of the stratosphere. The response, if it occurs, will probably be more towards April. I would have thought late March into April that we might start to see northern blocking. We'll have to see. This is a precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from meteo.com. Showery rain into western areas, mainly dry me east, until we get to around the end of next week and then start to turn more generally unsettled with quite a bit of rain to come. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which gets us to the 15th of March. 17 members of the ECM ensembles have high pressure reaching to our east, and we're bringing up like a very mild southwesterly wind by that point, or southerly to southeasterly wind maybe. Does include the control and the operational. 14 just here, very similar, high pressure to our east, bringing up those southerly southwesterlies. 9 still going for the easterly idea. The Scandinavian high to Greenland, and winds coming in from a much colder easterly direction. 6 have high pressure right over top of the country, and then 5 bringing low pressure in from off the Atlantic Ocean, looking quite unsettled there. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. We get to the 20th of March, 16 members of the ECM ensembles have low pressure on Greenland and Iceland, high pressure to our southeast and bringing up wind from a southwesterly direction. Number 16 have high pressure over Scandinavia, they'll get the wind into the east. 14 with low pressure to our northwest, that's bringing in Atlantic driven weather, and then 5 with northern blocking, proper northern blocking around Greenland, and they'll be bringing cold east or northeasterly winds. So range of options, we have to wait and see how things play out, but definitely the model output has backed off from those cold easterlies next week. CFSV2, however, still looks quite cold over next week. It's 500 millibar high on for week 1, 5th to the 11th of March. High pressure is over Scandinavia, and winds are coming in from that cold easterly direction. So quite chilly in the week ahead, but then will change to week 2, 12th to the 18th of March. High pressure recedes away. Lower pressure comes in off the Atlantic. That turns milder, wetter and windier, of course. Week 3, very similar. 19th, 25th of March. Low pressure again around Greenland and Iceland, looking mild, wet, windy generally. And then week 4, let's just answer the phone, shall we? Okay, there we go. Phone answered. And let's carry on. So week 4 is the 26th of March, 1st of April, with high pressure again to our southwest, and we're bringing up wind southwest direction. That looks quite spring-like. Pretty quite unsettled though up in the north. So the temperature on your CFSV2 for week 1, 5th to 11th of March, actually a bit cooler than average, a bit below average. Haven't seen that for a while, but week 2 goes milder. This is the 12th to the 18th of March, go above average with the temperature then. Week 3 is relatively mild as well. This is the 19th, 25th of March, and then week 4, 26th of March to 1st of April, looking mild as well. No sign of any sort of drop in the temperature in response to that stratospheric warming up to the beginning of April. If this CFS wrong, but it could be wrong, of course. Last thing we'll look at is ECMWF, mean sea pressure anomalies for the next 6 weeks. So week 1 will be next week. It's the 7th to the 14th of March. Mean sea pressure anomaly with low pressure to the west, high pressure to the east. So proper old battle going on. It could be chilly for a while, but then the low pressure brings those milder west-southwesterlies in. Week 2 is the 14th to the 21st of March. More Atlantic driven this week, with low pressure out to the west, and in come those west-southwesterly winds, high pressure retreating back away into western Russia. Week 3 is the 21st, 28th of March, with low pressure again around Greenland and Iceland, and in come those westerly winds. Week 4 is 28th of March to the 4th of April. High pressure rising to our south, so that's proper spring. Brings the wind up from the southwest. Could be quite warm there actually. And then week 4 is the 4th to the 11th of April. The high pressure goes. Low pressure sets up over Scandinavia. There's no sign of any blocking, but there might be some higher pressure around here that's forcing the low in that direction. That might start to bring thick winds into a colder northwesterly direction. Week 6 is 11th to 18th of April. Again with that trough of low pressure over Scandinavia. There's no real high pressure, no blocking signal, but that might get wind into a northwesterly direction. So it might hint at a coolish start to April, or cold start to April, but of course we'll have to wait and see about that. Right, okay, just go over here. There we go. So we're done. If you enjoyed the video, please just smash the like button, make sure you sub to the channel, and share doing that to your friends and family to subscribe as well. Amazing, incredible. Thank you so much to Rich for the GIF. Thank you so much, Rich, for our subscribe GIF. Right, okay, we're done with today's video. Saying tomorrow 6 AM upload and a 10 to 14 day. No GavsWeatherVids Sunny Roundup this month. Hopefully we'll have that back for you next month. I bet you a bit of a summer look tomorrow, so it won't be a typical 10 to 14 day. We might have a look at some long range data for summer, which is something we've not done very often this season. So I thought that could be interesting. Perhaps a little bit of a summer look ahead with some longer range. We'll see. But anyway, you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. We'll be back tomorrow with more. But for today's 10 to 14 day, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.